Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be continuing building our front porch. So if you saw the last video, we milled a few cedar logs. We had an 18-foot one on here, and we milled most of the lumber that we need to build our front porch. Today we just have a couple more pieces to finish up. So we have this one right here. We're hoping to get a 6x6 log out of it, or a 6x6 post out of it. So we started milling this one already, and it's looking like we're gonna get a post out, but we've noticed that cedar can be a bit deceiving. So we wanna go ahead and start looking for a couple more logs that we can have ready to go in case this one doesn't work out or if we need a couple more pieces. But the good news is we're on 22 acres of land, so we just have trees everywhere, and the trees that we've been milling, most of them had already blown down in a storm or were rotting. One of these trees that we just did for the porch was right there. We cut it down so that we could build this sawmill. And then we also have one over there at the fence line. So when we go check that one out, go look around and go assess what cedar trees we have. All right, so this is another cedar tree. It's right along this fence line. And this fence was made with cedar posts. This was made about 40 years ago, and these were just pieces of cedar that were just put in the ground, no concrete or anything. At this point, it's just the core, and it's still really strong, and the majority of our fence is still up. This tree probably wasn't here when the fence was being built, but just in case, when we cut it down, we can look at it with a metal detector to make sure no metal or no nails were ever put in this over time. This is definitely a good candidate for a tree we could cut down and throw up on the sawmill, have a couple extra pieces. And so then we have another one over here that was blown down in the storm. And by the way, this is this is all the sawdust that came out of the sawmill last time. A lot of you were commenting about this and said you wanted it. We're not really using it for anything, so if you guys are serious, maybe we will put it in bags and sell it. So leave a comment if that's something you're interested in. Tell us how much we should list it for, and maybe we'll sell some bags of this or something. That's that good Tennessee red cedar. Look at this, when you dig to the deep stuff where it's still wet, it's got that pink color. I feel like Sage in her litter box right now. All right, so this is a section of the land that we don't really come to that often. We've not really started clearing this out yet, so there's trees blown down everywhere that we need to clean up. And one of them happens to be this cedar over here. The top of it was broken in an ice storm, so you can see it just split. So this one looks like it's about 15 feet of usable lumber. This one's definitely another good candidate. We can cut this down, and that should give us all that we need for our cedar. But before we cut this down, let's go look at some other trees. So this one over here is an ash. I mean, it's just laying here, and this is a huge tree that we could be getting stuff out of. So you can see this split off right here, off this huge tree. Back when we walked around the land with Cronise from the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, he was telling us about ash trees and how the emerald ash borer is in this area. They're basically gonna destroy all these trees, so we pretty much have to cut down our ash trees now and use them while we can. So this piece right here would be a good piece to just test out ash and see what it's like. And then for the actual tree, we're gonna cut this down at some point. We could use it for floor, so you're definitely gonna be seeing this tree again at some point. And honestly, looking at this, it looks a lot easier to deal with than these cedars that we've been doing, because they're just completely covered in branches, and this one is just nice and straight. So that one should be really fun to do. So let's go ahead and head back over to our cedar, get it cut down, and drag it over. All right, Dad's gonna cut it down. We're finding out, will the DOVOH chainsaw, DOVOH electric chainsaw, will it cut down the cedar tree? We're attempting to pull down the tree with a chain and the tractor. It's really hard to tell how steep of a hill this is, but I mean, it's kind of dangerous. Oh, here it comes. That smells good. It really does. You can come smell over there. Huh? You'll smell it.
No, I can't smell anything yet. I mean, that was pretty epic.
All right, so we were able to get our cedar tree cut down. It ended up being a little bit more challenging than we expected, just because we didn't cut that tree top off at first. It didn't fall over immediately, so we had to get the chain out. We were doing all of that on a hill. It's really hard to see it on the camera, but it's a really steep hill, so it made it a little more challenging with the tractor. But we were able to get it up. We got it on the mill, and we got this 6x6, 9-foot out of it. Cedar is definitely one of the more challenging logs to do, just because it has branches all over it, and they're all kind of tapered. So if you cut it the wrong way, you end up losing a lot. So it's gonna be nice when we finally get to put a round log on. This one ended up pretty good. It doesn't have a lot of wane. Even if it did, it wouldn't really matter because we were kind of going for a rustic look anyway. We're happy with it regardless. We also got some rafters out of it, so we're set to start building our front porch now. So we're gonna go ahead and start moving the rest of the lumber over and start building. Hey, don't forget, we're not being lazy. It's work smarter, not harder.
Grass, probably just growing.
Every time we've been cutting on the sawmill, I've been trying to save all these thin pieces because I think they're good for using with the X tool. I can engrave some coasters or whatever out of these, so those are always good to have. Look at this. So this one's all pink because we cut it yesterday, and the ones that have been sitting are a completely different color now. Last time when we sealed it, it ended up getting really red. So this is red cedar after all. So you guys might remember a couple episodes ago when we were installing our rock wool, we used our grade level to get it nice and level. One of the challenges we were having that day is it was just bright outside, so we couldn't really see the laser. So we were using this receiver to mark the level. And then we also set this up last week when we installed our ledger. Since the land slopes so far up here, we just put it up on the hill and we were able to use it to hang our ledger. We also had a company reach out to us and they sent us something, and we're gonna go ahead and do a little unboxing. So this is from a company called DOVOH. Let's find out what they sent us. They sent us not one, but 2 laser levels. So these lasers are used to lay things out, and they're usually used indoors. It will draw a horizontal and vertical lines just so you can use it to like hang pictures or line up tiles or anything like that. And it's really great for that. But this is their brighter one. This is their H3 series, and it can be used outside too. This one is 110 milliwatts, and just to put that number in perspective, our X tool is 40 watts. So that's 40,000 milliwatts, and that's powerful enough to cut through 3/4 inch plywood. But anything in the milliwatt range is gonna be a lot harder to see outside when it's competing with the sunlight. So we're gonna be using this today when we start lining up our posts and get our porch set up. And they also sent us a second one to give away to one of our subscribers. So stay around for the end of the video and we'll tell you how you can win that. So let's go ahead and use this and get started on our porch. So we really like that this has the 5/8 thread mount because we already have a grade tripod and that's what they all use. So we'll be able to use it with the one we already have. And then it also has the 1/4-20, which is the standard video tripod. So you could use it with either one. So now I can turn this on. Oh wow, you can actually see it really well. Is this one turned on? So this is our existing grade level that we had, and this is the DOVOH. So yeah, that is a huge difference. You can barely even see this one, but this one, we could definitely use that without even using one of these plates. So we're definitely gonna be able to use that today, and yeah, that's gonna be great. So we're gonna be notching all of our posts and putting this big beam on there. And when we were looking at this, we were kind of doing some measurements, and we realized that if we just took off 1 inch from this, we would get rid of almost all of the wane. There would just be a little bit on this side. We have a sawmill here now, so there's no reason we can't just put this back up on there, take off 1 inch, and it'll just get rid of the majority of this. It'll make it look a lot nicer. And then we're also thinking about doing this kind of angled cut corner look on our beam, and that would end up taking out the rest of it over here. I think we're just gonna go ahead and do that, throw it up on the sawmill real quick, take off 1 inch. Got that cut. There's just this little bitty part right there, but other than that, it's good now. This is all gonna be cut off right here. And then there's this one spot on the back, but that'll be hidden, so we're not really worried about that. So that was pretty easy. And honestly, it doesn't even look different. Like, it doesn't even look smaller because the beam's so big. All right, we got our 3 posts fresh off the mill. Right now we're kind of deciding how we want them to be oriented, and we're gonna square up the bottoms of all of them. and put all 3 of our posts in place and secured them in all on the bottom, so that's where they're gonna be. And we made sure every single one of them was just exactly plumb. And we're gonna be notching out the top of each one so we can put our beam up. We want that to be at 7 feet, so we ended up marking one of them at 7 feet, and the other ones we wanna make sure it was exactly level with that. So we used our laser level, the DOVOH, and also measured it in a couple different ways, and ended up coming up with a very consistent measurement across so that when we put that beam up, it'll be perfectly level. Now we know exactly where to cut it, so we're gonna take them all back down, add in our notch, and we'll be ready to set up our beam. We took our posts down, and now we need to cut the notch out of all of them. So we started by setting our saw to the same depth as the beam. And so this piece was the one that we took off of the beam on the sawmill yesterday. And so now that we have that set, we can use it to cut it in the exact same spot on all of the posts. And then to do the other cut, we're gonna lay them down flat on the sawmill, and we'll do that long cut along the posts. And that will leave it a little long, but it's only about 9 inches, the width of the beam. So now we just have to do that cut, put them on the sawmill, cut that out, and they should be ready to go. That one will just perfectly get out that wane. Okay, so we got all of our posts up on the sawmill now, and we lined up the cross cut perfectly, got them nice and square, so that's good to go. And then on this side, we set our sawmill to exactly the right depth, so right there. So that should cut it right where we need it to be. So we'll just cut all the way to right here until those chunks are free, and that should be it. So we're gonna try it, see how it goes. Let's do it. That's it. All right, so we got our beam up on our post, and everything just worked out perfect with those posts once we put them back up. And we also went ahead and cut all the rafters and got them sitting up there. So we went through, did all the bird's mouth, and we also had our neighbor Richard come out and help us out for the day, so it was really good having his help. So now all we have to do is just get bolts, secure everything in, screw everything in, and we'll be good to go with that. And also back at the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I was gonna be giving away this DOVOH laser level, and I have to say it was really awesome using this. You could see that laser clear as day, even in the sunlight, which was pretty impressive. But I'm gonna be putting a link for this down in the description, and they also gave me a 15% off coupon code, so I'll have everything down in the description. But if you want to win this one, just like the video, be subscribed, and just leave a comment, and we'll randomly pick someone next week to give this away to. I also want to give a huge shout out to everyone that backs us over on Patreon. Everything we get from Patreon goes right back into this project, so it really helps us out a lot being able to fund things like this. So thank you to everyone that backs us over on Patreon. We really appreciate it. And also thank you to just everyone who has subscribed and liked the videos. And we'll see you guys next time.